Okay, so give you context, the Amalfi Bikini looks amazing with the Trillium bikini top. So this is how small the Amalfi is. She's very tiny, as you can see from side on, and just giving you a point of reference of what the set looks like together. And the Amalfi bikini is a little bit of a thong as well. So you've got that triangle shape at the back of the thong. And then you've got the hip straps that come up very high up on your waist. And they're, of course, adjustable as well. So everything is adjustable on this set. Oh my God, I love this bikini so much. And this Amalfi is life. And as you can see, you've got the adjustable straps on either side. And then up on the Trillium bikini, you have got the adjustable through the back, the top of the shoulders, and through the sides of the back. So let's get you started making this gorgeous beauty. Yay! Thank you so much for joining me on making the gorgeous micro Amalfi bikini bottoms. I'm using a sequin mesh, and I'm going to also be putting a black lining behind that because the mesh is quite see-through and I want it to be nice and soft on the inside and nice and sparkly on the outside. So I'm placing the two sequin fabrics, the front and the back, with the right sides together. And then I'm placing on top the lining. So the wrong sides will be facing, and then the right sides of the lining facing each other. And as you can see, it's got a bit of stretch to it for comfort. And then I'm going to pin the crotch seam with some pins, and then I will put it underneath my sewing machine. And I'm doing it specifically so that you can see that you don't need a serger to make these creations. This one's done specifically with a sewing machine just so that you can see it's easy to sew sequins and make a beautiful wardrobe for yourself, which is what I'm all about. So I've pinned the crotch seam, and you're going to sew a straight line there. The seam allowance is already applied, which is 1/4 of an inch. So just placing the seam allowance underneath the pedal foot and lining it up. And then you're going to sew a straight stitch and just keeping it nice and neat. I know it can be a little bit tricky and fiddly when you're sewing sequins for the first time, but just go slow. You don't need to push yourself or do anything in a hurry if you're doing this for the first time. So it's just a straight stitch all the way through, and then I backtrack on that and come forward, and then I lift the pedal up and I cut my cord. And then I will take the pins out, and as you can see, that's what it looks like front and back. So it's just a regular straight stitch for specific on stretch fabric. And then I'm going to put it back underneath the pedal again, the presser foot, and I'm going to do a zigzag stitch on the right side of the straight stitch. This is kind of mimicking what would be a serger or overlocker stitch, and very easy to do with your sewing machine. So this is what I would suggest moving forward. And once you're comfortable doing a straight stitch and a zigzag stitch, you might want to upgrade to a serger or an overlocker. They're my favorites. And but with this type of garment that I'm making, I do tend to use the sewing machine a lot. So yeah, just do your zigzag stitch and backtrack on it, and then lift the pedal foot up, and it's done. It's so pretty, yay. So that's going to be nice and secure for you or the person that you're making it for. Just trim off any tails. Yay. And this is what it looks like. So you're going to just unravel that, and you'll have you'll see the start of what it looks like. It's very easy to make. I mean, this YouTube is just 13 minutes long, so you'll get a lot out of this. So as you can see, I folded everything out, and you can see the beautiful sequin fabric on top of the lining, and you can see the shape that's starting to come through, and it's just looking absolutely beautiful. There we go. So that's the inside with the lining, and then we've got the front of it, which is nice and sparkly. I love working with sparkly fabrics. I think it's really beautiful on stage. Heck, you can even wear this to the beach or to a gorgeous pool party or something like that. So go for gold. Now I'm just going to pin all the way around. So pinning all the way around, making sure that all of the seams are lined up. I start from the crotch and work my way back around to the crotch point again. And millions of pins. That's all ready for me to sew all the way around just to secure those two fabrics together. I'm going to use a zigzag stitch. If you have a serger or overlocker, you can definitely serge that, but here I am back at the sewing machine with a zigzag stitch. The width is 3, the length is 3. I like to keep everything even and easy to remember. But again, it depends on what your sewing machine is like. And you're just going to sew all the way around. I'm going to speed this up a little bit, so if it looks a bit funny with the speed up, it's just I'm saving you time. But you can also see over my shoulder the process that I go through to create this micro bikini. So, I mean, you can skip this and just go for the fold over elastic, but I really like everything to be neat and easy to work through. So just sewing all those edges together, and if you get anything that hangs off a little bit, just give it a little trim just so that everything is nice and even. There we are. And then we're going to just trim off anything and then move on to the fold over elastic. So my fold over elastic is 12 millimeters. And as you can see, when I fold it, it's easy to fold. That's what makes it a fold over elastic. You're more than welcome to go for different widths. I just prefer 12 millimeters. And then you'll place this with the wrong side of the fold over elastic facing the lining with a 2 centimeter tail on the end. There you go, and you're going to slightly pull the elastic whilst you sew your zigzag stitch. Again, your zigzag stitches, the length is 3 and the width is 3, and you're going to do that all the way around. So lining up the sewing machine, I'm just going to place the lining on top of the wrong side of the fold over elastic, place that underneath my presser foot, and I'm going to sew that zigzag stitch, backtrack on it, and just slightly pull that elastic whilst I'm sewing. This takes a little bit of work if you feel really uncomfortable doing this and it kind of gives you a bit of a headache. Push through it. Sometimes the language of elastic doesn't resonate with us, but I find the more that you do these things, the easier it becomes, and soon elastic will become your best friend. And it's hard for me to say how hard you pull on your elastic because your elastic might be coming from a different supplier compared to mine. So just, I think, do some practice runs before you make something for yourself or for somebody else. So if you're using this pattern to make inside your own business, then just test your materials first. So then I finish the fold over elastic and leave 2 centimeter tail on either side. And I'm going to do that throughout the whole of this process. And then moving on to putting the rings on the tails. There you are. Okay, so I'm using 12 millimeter rings on the ends here, and I've just slipped them over the tail, and I just do a straight stitch on either side, maybe 2 straight stitches just to secure the ring. There you are. So that's already there. And then you can move on to making the straps. And here we are. So my straps are 12 millimeters, the sliders are 12 millimeters, and then I am going to make the straps. It's like, it's really fast to make, really easy to make. And all the sizing and all the measurements for the straps are inside the pattern that you purchase from the website. So the website is indiajean.com, and you can go there and purchase the pattern. There's also some bundles to purchase a whole bundle of micro bikinis, and right now I'm just placing the strap through the slider, and that's what it looks like. So with the strap, you can just go underneath the first bar, and then you'll go over the top of the middle bar and pull that through on itself. Perfect. And you got these 2 little 1 centimeter or 1.5 centimeter tails. Turn that back on itself, and then you'll make 2 little straight lines and a zigzag line just to secure that into place. There you are. So they're done, and we're ready to pop them on. They're looking so, it's very satisfying making straps. It's one of my most favorite things to do, actually. Okay, and then just creating that pathway now so that we can place this strap through the ring. There we go. So just placing that through the front or the back, however you like to do up your slider. Placing the strap underneath the first bar, over the middle bar, and then under the last bar. There you are. Perfect. And you'll do the same for the other side. So up, through, back on itself, and underneath the first bar. You'll go over the middle bar and then under the last bar. There we are. Simple. And then place that through the ring, and then you want to have like a 1 centimeter tail. I'm just going to clip that with a bulldog clip. There we are. And then do the same on the other side, and I'm going to secure that with 2 straight stitches. Sometimes I do 2 straight stitches and a zigzag stitch, but it's completely up to you. As long as it feels secure to you, if you want to do 3 straight stitches to secure that, go ahead and do that. Okay, this is where I do my straight stitch right here, and then zigzag right there. 1, 2, and then a zigzag. And then do the same on the other side. Right here, here, and there. And this is what it looks like, front and back. Good luck, can't wait to see.